Good morning. Welcome to this beloved community at River of Grass Unitarian Universalist Congregation. We're delighted to have you all here on this beautiful, warm, sunny Florida morning. YouTube is streaming, I believe. Is that correct, Mr. Ken? Our chimes. If you'd like to follow along with the service, you can scan the QR code, which will be on the screen. There it is. Or you can go to riverofgrassuu.org and click on the order of service on the home page. And we will start our service this morning with our prelude. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you to our ROG. How do you say your name? Rogue UU?
Rogues.
Rogue UU band. That was beautiful. We're so happy that you are all here this morning, both those of you who are here in this room and everyone who is live streaming via our YouTube channel as we go and grow and flow the Riverway. My name is Leanna Bresnahan. I have the distinct honor of serving as president of this congregation and also as membership chair. Our worship leader today is the amazing Peter Fox, right behind me. We especially want to welcome all of our visitors today, and we hope you'll stay for coffee after the service and for a little fellowship. If you haven't already, and this is your first time, if you'd like to stop by in this room, we welcome you. And all of you on YouTube, wherever you are, we welcome you as well. However you got here this morning, we're happy you're here. So now let's pause just a moment and take a little time to breathe in, to connect with one another and with the holy by any name, and the light of love that connects us all. Let us breathe in our time together. In this congregation, It is our mission to nurture our spirits, to love intentionally, and to create a just and healthy planet in our enduring search for truth, meaning, and faith. What we share here is not an unchanging dogma, but an affirmation that we are called for who they are. River of Grass is an unapologetically progressive home for seekers of truth, boldly told, love, freely given, hope, never failing, answering the call for peace and justice at the place where we reside, the life-giving Florida Everglades. Marjorie Stoneman Douglas gave this poetic name, River of Grass, to the Everglades, and we honor her legacy by continuing to use her name. We honor. The Miccosukee Tribe of Florida and the Seminole Tribe of Florida are the present-day stewards of these ancestral lands. May we strive always to live by their example. We open our doors wide and our hearts wide to you as you are and our world. May our sacred time together be one of caring, of courage, of transformation, and always a call to action.
Mother. Yes, but complicated. It's right there on the calendar, even if your mother has died, even if you've been told yet again that you're still not pregnant, or if you've never, even if your own mother's priorities included everything but you, there's going to be a Mother's Day Google Doodle with flowers and pink stuff, even if you have scars, the ones you can see or the ones you can't. It's Mother's Day. It's Mother's Day, and we all have to live with that. In those silent, breathless moments, because it's Mother's Day. So, here we are. Let's go to church. Let's be here. Let's be a church where we can acknowledge how difficult it is to have this. Let's be a congregation where we don't pretend that there aren't inky depths of space between us, even when we sing. Let's be a congregation that fills the space in places. There is room for love. We can be that community. We can be that congregation. We are that congregation. Our opening words are by Alexis Engelbrecht. I almost feel like I should be singing this. Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. That's as far as I'll go. Here you may find a warm greeting, a kind word, a gentle touch. Sometimes I feel like I have no friends. A pulse of liberation, a vision of hope. Sometimes I feel I'm almost gone. Here you may find a song to sing, a moment of silence, a hand to hold. Even when you are a long way from home, may these walls give you shelter. May this community break through your loneliness. Come, let us worship together.
Our hymn this morning is I Seek the Spirit of a Child, number 338. Would you stand, please, as we sing? We often may hear this melody. It's known as the Sussex Carol, and we hear it oftentimes during the month of December. I seek the spirit of a child, the child who brings the world alive and greets the morning sun with glee. Children are real beyond all art. May I see joy's a gift to the heart. I seek the freedom of a child. Children are real beyond all fear to our tears. I seek the wonder of a child who sees delightfully. Now clouds and cloud, now golden sun, imagination's true and free. Children are real beyond all lies. May our eyes. Please be seated.
Beautiful song. The flaming chalice is the symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith and tradition, a beacon of religious liberty shining through generations and now ours to hold high. Let us join our voices together with these words by Julianne Lepp. And the answers to our heart's deep questions. As we seek, may our hearts be open to unexpected answers. May the light of our chalice remind us that this is a community of warmth, of wisdom, and welcoming of multiple truths. Thank you to our chalice lighter. And now let's repeat in the light of love. Let us renew our covenant as we say together, this is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to espíritu de esta congregación y el servicio su ley principal. Esta es nuestra gran promesa, vivir juntos en paz, buscar la verdad a través del amor y ayudarnos mutuamente. And now this morning, our wisdom story is Curiosity, the Story of a Mars Rover by Marcus Motern. And it is going to be read by Karen Gonzalez, our Faith Development Director.
Okay, so Miss Kathy found, am I on? Can you hear me? Yes? Okay. Miss Kathy found us this story because this month's theme is practicing curiosity. So, my grandchild was asked recently if they knew what curiosity was, and their reply was, yes, a Mars rover. They were right. And if anybody's practicing curiosity, it's certainly this one. Wherever you are in the world right now, I'm a very long way away. I'm not even on the same planet as you. I'm a Mars rover. A rover is a moving robot built to explore far-off places, places too far away or dangerous for humans to visit. How did I get here? Why was I sent? This is my story. Humans can explain some of the mysteries of space. The planets hold their secrets well. Many questions remain unanswered. Of these, one question intrigues humans above all others. Is there anybody else out there? Scientists decided that the best place to look for other life was on one of our closest neighboring planets, Mars, the red planet. In addition to being one of our two closest neighboring planets, Mars is the planet in our solar system that's most similar to Earth. Scientists think that in the past, Mars may have had environments similar to ones on Earth today. Mars is covered in red dust now, but there is evidence that millions of years ago, the planet may have had lakes, flowing rivers, and even great oceans. Why does this matter? Because on Earth, water is a necessity for life. However, there is one problem. The trip to Mars in a spacecraft can be over 350 billion miles long. Million. Oh, I knew I was going to get that wrong. It's really far. What's the difference between a million and a billion, really? A lot. I could have just read forward. That's 350 million miles, a distance much, much farther than any to Mars. The journey would take at least 6 months. Humans have been able to explore closer to home. On July 20th, 1969, Apollo 11 landed on the moon. Astronaut Neil Armstrong took one famous step and became the first person to set foot there. For the few hours he and Buzz Aldrin walked on its surface, about 200 times farther away from Earth than the moon, a journey that is currently very difficult for humans to undertake. The red planet is also an inhospitable environment. But what if it were possible to find an explorer who didn't need food, water, or oxygen? That's where I came in. Scientists at NASA, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, came up with the idea to send robots to Mars in humans' place. The robots would need to be able to move over rough terrain with all the equipment needed to collect data and samples, so the scientists began to design rovers like me. Previous successful rovers had taken photos of Mars, giving NASA never-before-seen images. Other missions were orbiters and flybys. 39 missions to the red planet had been launched, and over half had ended in failure. Some of these earlier missions had become lost in space, while others crashed into Mars, never to be heard from again. Sorry, speak into the mic, they tell me. Entirely new technologies had to be invented for my mission. I needed to be able to carry a lot of equipment to test what I found on Mars, my own portable laboratory, to give the mission the best chance of being successful. Years of testing were needed to make sure everything would work correctly the first time. After all, if something were to go wrong on Mars, no one could come and fix me. NASA ran a competition for members of the public to choose a name for me. Some of the names considered were Adventure, Journey, Pursuit, Vision, and Wonder. The winning entry was submitted by Clara Ma, who was a Curiosity. The rocket that would take me into space was waiting for me in Florida. The Atlas V rocket is around 200 feet tall, the height of a 19-story building, and it is almost all rocket fuel. This is because it needs to be powerful enough to launch whatever it is carrying, known as its payload, into space. The Atlas V, Atlas V, is known as an expendable launch vehicle, which means its parts can be used only once. I was placed inside the nose cone at the very top. Launch day, November 26, 2011, arrived. I was ready to fly to Mars. In the control room, the team ran through the final checks. At last, the rocket was ready for countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Liftoff. The first part of my journey was breaking through Earth's atmosphere and reaching safely into the ocean. I made the rest of the journey in this protective shell called the module. The module used its star scanner and sun sensor to guide itself. Thrusters on the outside of the module could change its direction when necessary. They were the only part of the rocket that made the long journey to Mars with me. Hurling through space, I finally arrived near Mars, traveling 13,000 miles per hour. Next would be the trickiest part of my entire journey, landing safely. I had made it. As soon as I was safely on the surface, I sent a message to my NASA team letting them know 15 minutes to get back to Earth. I would think it'd be even longer than that. It was a tense time in the control room as everyone waited. Then the words everyone wanted to hear were read out. Touchdown confirmed. We're safe on Mars. It wasn't just the NASA team who had been watching my landing. All around the world, people tuned in to see if I had arrived safely after my long journey. Crowds gathered in the New York Times Square to watch on a giant screen. It was an exciting but scary time. After all, if just one thing had gone wrong, all contact between me and the team back on Earth would have been lost. When they heard I'd landed, some people cheered. Others breathed huge sighs of relief. The next thing I did on Mars was send images of myself back to NASA to make sure I hadn't been damaged during the journey. My landing had been perfect, if a little dusty. The site had been carefully selected by scientists as a place likely to have evidence of water. Now it was time to start looking. Since 2012, I have been exploring Mars. The NASA team looks through my 17 cameras and chooses potential spots on the surface that may have evidence of life. Once something is identified, I move toward it. I can move more than 600 feet per day. NASA also wants to understand how Mars was formed and how it has changed over time. The deeper I dig, the more information I can gather. I drill into rocks and scoop up material. I then test it on my onboard laboratory. Gradually, by piecing together information from different locations, NASA hopes to build a picture of the planet's past and perhaps discover why Mars changed from being a warm planet with water to the cold, dry planet it is today. And maybe that information will help us protect our planet. There are many questions still to be answered. What was Mars like long ago? How suitable was it for life? Did it once support any life forms? The tests I carry out will provide as many answers as possible. Most likely, the discoveries I make will lead to more questions. With space exploration, questions can be just as exciting as answers. Thanks to the curiosity of explorers, Neil Armstrong's footprints are on the moon, and now my wheel tracks are being left on another planet. Perhaps one day soon, footprints from the next generation of explorers will leave their marks here as well. Curiosity is the passion. This is a quote by Clara Ma, the sixth grader who named the rover. She said, "Curiosity is the passion that drives us through our everyday lives. We have become explorers and scientists with our need to ask questions and to wonder. We will never know everything there is to know, but with our burning curiosity, we have learned so much." And that's what we're going to talk about, all the stuff we've learned this year. And I have questions, so let's go.
Let's sing our children to their classes.
We love you and bless you and send you on your way. We love you and bless you today and every day.
Love that story. The offering that we take each Sunday isn't just a stale habit. It's an opportunity to recommit to this place and to this people. Our offering is an affirmation, a yes. When we give, we say yes to something that we value. With our gifts freely given, may we say yes to the values of our faith, to curiosity. May our offering help us practice Unitarian Universalism within and beyond our congregation as tools to empower our mission. Part of our mission is to create a just and healthy planet. So each Sunday, 50% of our undesignated offerings go to LifeNet for Families, an organization that provides meals, clothing, and support for those in need here in Broward County. And the remainder goes to support the ministry of our church, of our congregation. Ushers, please come forward to receive the offering.
From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live.
And our deepening music this morning is hymn number 1003 from the Teal hymnal, Where Do We Come From? Please rise in body or in spirit and join in singing together.
All right, you'll see that there are 4 lines. The first line of this song, if we move ahead a slide, when I say line 1, it really kind of goes down into the second line. And ladies, I'm going to have you sing that. Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? So ladies, you have that. On the third line down, mystery, mystery, life is a riddle and a mystery. Men, it was the easiest line. I'm going to give you that line, okay? And I'm going to teach it to you in just a little bit. And then don't worry about lines 2 and 4. I'll bounce back and forth on those. All right, so let's teach the men because they're going to need the most time. Okay, here we go. So it's mystery, mystery. Life is a riddle and a mystery. Mystery, mystery. Life is a riddle and a mystery. Let's hear you, men, go. Good job. Take a break, men. Ladies, here we go. Here's your part. Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come? Keep going. Just repeat it. Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? What? Keep going, ladies. Men, let's go. Mystery, mystery. Life is a riddle and a mystery. Mystery, mystery. Life is a riddle and a mystery. Keep going. Where do we come from? Where do we come from? Where do we come from? Where are we going? Where do we come from? Where are we going? Mystery, mystery. Life is a riddle and a mystery. Please be seated.
In our community each week, we share pieces of our lives. We take a moment to share our joys, our sorrows, and our gratitudes here with people who love us for exactly who we are, where we are, and what we are right now. Here in this room, we share from this book. If you are on YouTube this morning and you would like to share a thought or a prayer, a joy or a concern with us, please do write it into the chat, and we will lift it up as well as what has been written in the book. So we'll begin with this book. And now in the quiet of this hour, if there's something on your own hearts that you wish to mark without words this morning, you're invited to come forward and drop a stone of reflection into the water here or here, as we hold one another in sacred community. For as William James wrote, we are like islands in the sea, separate on the surface but connected in the deep. Let us share a moment of reflection, connecting us all to those who are in need this morning.
For the beauty of the earth, for the splendor of the skies, for the love which even from our birth over and around us lies. Hallelujah, hallelujah, source of all, to you we raise. Hallelujah, hallelujah, this our song of grateful praise. For the wonder of each hour, of the day and of the night, every hill and valley, tree and flower, sun and moon and stars of light. Hallelujah, hallelujah, source of all, to you we raise. Hallelujah, hallelujah, this our song of grateful praise. For the joy of human love, siblings, parent, child, for the kinship we all share right here, for all gentle thoughts and mild. Hallelujah, hallelujah, source of all, to you we raise. Hallelujah, hallelujah, this our song of grateful praise.
We add this prayer for all who mother by Victoria Weinstein. We reflect in thanksgiving this day for all those whose lives have nurtured ours, the life-giving ones who heal with their presence, who listen in sympathy, who give wise advice, but only when asked for it. We are grateful for all those who have mothered us, who have held us gently in times of sorrow, who celebrated with us in our triumphs, no matter how small, who praised us for taking risks, who noticed when we changed and grew, who took genuine pride in our success, and who expressed genuine compassion when we did not succeed. On this day that honors mothers, let us honor all mothers, men and women alike, who from somewhere in their being have freely and wholeheartedly given life and sustenance and vision to us. We lift all these things, spoken and unspoken, written and unwritten, asking that our hearts be seen even as we become seers of hearts, that we may serve one another and those beyond our walls with love and thankfulness today and every day. Amen. 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 Aho. Ashe. Namaste. Blessed be. And so it is. Let's sing our response, our musical response. The words are...
From all that dwell beneath these skies, let songs of hope and faith arise.
Each week at River of Grass, to better know ourselves and our faith as Unitarian Universalists, we consider those among us who made history and those who are making history as we speak. Our heritage today recognizes two of our courageous and curious Unitarians. Creativity and invention are based on curiosity. Our heritage is full of courageous and curious people. And one of our courageous ancestors is Julia Ward Howe. Too few Americans are aware that early advocates of a Mother's Day in the United States originally envisioned it as a day of peace to honor and support mothers who lost sons and husbands in the carnage of the Civil War. In 1870, nearly 40 years before it became an official U.S. holiday in 1914, Unitarian social justice advocate Julia Ward Howe issued her inspired Mother's Day proclamation, which called upon mothers of all nationalities to band together to promote the amicable, quote, the amicable settlement of international questions, the great and general interests of peace, unquote. She envisioned a day of solemn council in which women from all over the world could meet to discuss ways to achieve world peace. While Mother's Day has presently lost much of its early edge for justice, it's important to note some of the underpinning intentions and recommit ourselves to its present calling. At a time when our country is again engaged in devastating and costly wars abroad, and many of our own communities are torn apart by violence, it's time for Mother's Day to return to its roots. Our second curious and creative ancestor is R. Buckminster Fuller. Hailed as one of the greatest minds of our time, R. Buckminster Fuller was renowned for his comprehensive perspective on the world's problems. For more than 5 decades, he developed pioneering solutions that reflected his commitment to the potential of innovative design to create technology that does more with less, and thereby improves human lives. In 1927, Fuller designed several versions of what he called the Diaxion house, all of them factory-manufactured kits assembled on site intended to be suitable for any site or environment and to use resources efficiently. Buckminster Fuller said, "You can never change things by fighting the existence reality. To change something, build a new model, making the existing models obsolete." Making history is our hope. Sir Thomas Berners-Lee. Sir Berners-Lee is an English computer scientist best known as the inventor of the World Wide Web, HTML, the URL system, and HTTP. He is a professional research fellow at the University of Oxford and a professor emeritus at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Berners-Lee proposed an information management system in March 1989 and implemented the first successful communication between an HTTP client and server via the internet. In mid-November, I guess this is in 1989, he devised and implemented the first web browser and web server and helped foster the World Wide Web Consortium, which oversees the continued development of the web. He co-founded with Rosemary Leith the World Wide Web Foundation, and in 2009 he was elected Foreign Associate of the National Academy of Science. So, all that said, my message, quote unquote, this morning is borrowed and adapted from Soul Matters, a piece by the Reverend Steve Eddington. Mother's Day. It looks like the safest sermon topic in the world, doesn't it? A day of flowers, brunch, cards, warm memories. A day that practically writes its own sermon. Except it doesn't. If you were to ask clergy across denominations what sermon they most dread giving, Mother's Day would likely win by a landslide. And the reason is simple. It's complicated. Praise mothers too much, and you hurt those whose relationships with their mothers were painful or absent. Speak too honestly about those pains, and you alienate people whose mothers were wonderful. Celebrate motherhood, and you risk excluding women who aren't mothers. Ignore motherhood, and you miss the chance to honor those who nurture life every day. And then there are mothers who struggle with the role. Mothers who have lost children. Mothers who feel they never quite measured up. So, yes, it's complicated. And that's why today, instead of idealizing motherhood or tiptoeing around it, I'd like to take us somewhere different. I want to take us into history, to the origins of Mother's Day, and to two women whose stories shaped the day we now celebrate. Two women who lived in very different worlds, but whose visions converge in a way that still speaks to us today. And I want to look at them through the lens of curiosity, since Awakening Curiosity is our UU theme this month. Because curiosity is what opens the door to compassion. Curiosity is what lets us ask, what's really going on here? Curiosity is what allows us to imagine a world different from the one we inherited. I'd like to look at the worlds of Julia Ward Howe and Anna Jarvis. Let's start with Julia Ward Howe because many of us in UU congregations know her name. Julia was born in 1819 into a wealthy New York family. She grew up surrounded by privilege, but she also grew up questioning, curious about the strict Calvinism of her home. She eventually married Samuel Gridley Howe, a prominent Boston Unitarian, and together they moved into the transcendentalist circles of Emerson, Thoreau, and the Alcotts. They were deeply influenced by the fiery abolitionist preaching of Theodore Parker, the Unitarian Theodore Parker. During the Civil War, Julia and Samuel worked with the Sanitary Commission, the organization that later became the American Red Cross, tending to wounded soldiers. It was during a visit to a Union encampment that Julia wrote the words to the Battle Hymn of the Republic. At that moment, she saw the Union cause as righteous, even divinely inspired. But as the war dragged on, and as she witnessed the suffering of soldiers firsthand, her view of war changed. And here again, curiosity played a role. She began to ask, why do we glorify war? What are we doing to our sons? What would peace require of us? The terrible swift sword she once wrote about began to look less like divine justice and more like human tragedy. She became a committed peace activist and a strong advocate for women's suffrage. Out of this transformation came her version of Mother's Day. In 1870, she wrote a Mother's Day proclamation calling upon women, mothers and non-mothers alike, to rise up against war and work for international peace. She tried to read it at a peace conference in London, but the organizers refused to let a woman speak. So she rented her own hall and delivered it anyway. In her proclamation, she wrote, "Arise, all women who have hearts. Our sons shall not be taken from us to unlearn all we have taught them. of charity, mercy, and patience. And in a direct reversal of her earlier hymn, she declared, "Disarm, disarm. The sword of murder is not the balance of justice." Julia Ward Howe envisioned Mother's Day as a global peace festival held every June 2nd. And for a time, some American cities observed it. But her version never became a national holiday. For that, we turn to our second story, the story of Anna Jarvis, or rather, two Anna Jarvises, a mother and a daughter. The elder Anna Jarvis lived in the Appalachian region of what was then Western Virginia. Her husband, Granville Jarvis, was a Methodist minister, and together they lived in small mountain towns where poverty was common and medical care was scarce. Anna became deeply concerned about the health of mothers and children in these communities. She organized Mother's Day work clubs to improve sanitation, inspect bottled milk, raise money for medicine, and support families where mothers were ill. And again, curiosity was at work. She asked, why are so many children dying? What can we do differently? How can we care for one another better? Anna and her husband lost 4 of their 12 children to disease, a grief that fueled her determination to help other families avoid the same heartbreak. When the Civil War came, the Appalachian region was torn. Many in Western Virginia opposed secession and eventually broke away to form the new state of West Virginia. After the war, soldiers returned home, some who had fought for the Union, some for the Confederacy, and tensions ran high. Anna Jarvis decided to act. In 1865, she organized a Mother's Friendship Day in Grafton, West Virginia, to bring former enemies together. Some feared violence, but the event succeeded. For several years, Mother's Friendship Day became an annual gathering for reconciliation. Like Julia Ward Howe, Anna Jarvis used the idea of Mother's Day as a call for peace. After her husband died, Anna moved to Philadelphia to live with her daughter, also named Anna. When the elder Anna died in 1905, her daughter organized a memorial service in Grafton, West Virginia. That service inspired her to campaign for a national holiday to honor her mother's humanitarian work. Daughter Anna Jarvis worked tirelessly for 6 years, writing letters, lobbying politicians, and speaking wherever she could. In 1914, President Woodrow Wilson signed the proclamation establishing Mother's Day as a national holiday on the second Sunday in May. Ironically, the founder of the modern holiday was not a mother herself. And even more ironically, she became deeply disillusioned with what Mother's Day became. She hated the commercialization, the cards, the flowers, the sentimentalism. She once called Mother's Day cards, quote, a poor excuse for the letter you are too lazy to write. So, here we have 2 women, Julia Ward Howe, the privileged Boston reformer, and Anna Jarvis, the Appalachian minister's wife. One had access to power and influence. The other worked quietly in small towns. One wrote proclamations and traveled to international conferences. The other organized work clubs and reconciliation gatherings. Yet both used the idea of Mother's Day as a call for peace, healing, and compassion. And both were guided by curiosity. Curiosity about suffering, curiosity about justice, curiosity about what peace might look like, Curiosity about how ordinary people could make a difference. Their stories remind us that social change is shaped both by those with platforms and by those who work quietly in their communities. Julia Ward Howe could rent a hall in London and have her proclamation printed and distributed. Anna Jarvis could organize mothers in mountain towns to improve sanitation and bring former enemies together. Both did what they could with the resources they had. And both drew inspiration from their faith communities. Howe was shaped by the radical preaching of the Unitarian Theodore Parker, who saw Jesus as a social reformer. Jarvis, living far from Harvard and Boston, likely found inspiration in the stories of Jesus' compassion for the poor and marginalized. What unites these two women is a vision of a reconciled human family, a world where compassion triumphs over conflict, where healing is possible, where peace is something ordinary people can work toward. And curiosity, the willingness to ask why and why not and what if, is what opened the door for both of them. This, I believe, is the deeper meaning of Mother's Day. Not sentimentalism, not sentimentality, not commercialization, not brunch reservations or flower deliveries, nice as it all might be, but a call to nurture peace, justice, and compassion in whatever ways we can. A call to stay curious about one another, curious about our stories, curious about our wounds, curious about what healing might look like. We honor all who mother, not only biological mothers, but all who nurture life, who heal, who teach, who comfort, who build bridges, who mend what is broken. We honor those who use whatever resources they have, great or small, to make the world more whole. And we remember that each of us has a role in shaping the generations that follow. Each of us has a garden to tend, a corner of humanity to care for. May we tend that garden well, and may we stay curious enough to imagine how beautiful that garden might yet become. Thank you.
Our closing music this morning is one that many of us love. Number 123 in your hymnal, Spirit of Life.
Our closing words today are by the Reverend Tess Baumberger. As we encounter others in our community who are exploring different paths than our own, as we listen to their stories about what they have seen along the way, as we come to understand their beliefs, may we gain new insights that serve to open us, to transform us, and to lead us onward. They reawaken our spiritual curiosity to link the word love with seeking and with truth calls us back into the heart dimensions of our faith. The love dimension, the heart dimension, calls us to accept and encourage one another on our different journeys. And it also calls us to celebrate a sense of spiritual homecoming for one another. Different paths, same home. So, as we extinguish the chalice, let your spirit be surprised. May your wonder be bigger than your fear. May questions lead you gently into truth, not control. May you meet the unknown with wide eyes, and let your spirit be surprised. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of transformation.
It's time for announcements. Yay! At River of Grass, we offer so many ways to live out our Unitarian Universalist faith. And you all know to check your weekly email that comes out on Thursday afternoons. You can also go to our webpage, riverofgrassuu.org. Okay, so this morning we want to tell you about, just to remind you, what's happening in August. This gentleman here is going to, pictured on the screen, is going to be standing right here. Actually, not in August. He arrives in August, Reverend Nick Sanchez, and he will begin getting to know us. So you'll be hearing in the very near future about opportunities to get to meet him. And he will be in this pulpit on Labor Day, Sunday. So the first Sunday in September, at least that is the plan. So we will keep you apprised, but it is a great joy that we will be welcoming a new minister. For those of you who don't know, we have been lay-led for the past year, since Rev. Amy retired. It's been an exciting time.
Yes.
A lot of people have done a great job. Our worship team has been working overtime. So Kathy Jens Rockow and Robert Smith are co-chairs. Our music team and everybody who has stepped up to give worship services. It really is quite fun. So hopefully a lot more people will have the opportunity in the future, but then again, we'll have Rev. Nick. So today in Faith Development, our kids were looking back on their year of learning and growth, and they are going to be thinking, or they were thinking of ways to share that growth with you in our upcoming Faith Development worship service, which will be on May 31st. So please, everybody, plan to be here to watch our children and youth, and see Karen if you have questions or would like more details. Karen Gonzalez. Okay, next week, a very important Sunday. It is our annual meeting. In case you haven't gotten the word somehow, we will be meeting right here after service to conduct our business. We do this once a year in May, usually the third Sunday of May. This year, we will be voting to approve our budget for next year. We will be electing our new board of trustees for next year. And we will also be voting on whether we wish to grant Reverend Amy Carroll Webb, our retired minister, the title of Minister Emerit. So hopefully you have gotten many emails about this vote that we'll be taking. We do need a quorum, so that means we need 40% of our membership to be here. Now, it will be here or it will be on Zoom as well, but we really prefer that you come in person if you can. We will serve lunch and we will provide childcare if you need it. So, excuse me? Okay, so the meeting itself is next week after worship service. We have one more opportunity this coming week. If you have any questions, any existential doubts about what does minister emerit mean, what are the implications, if you would just like to know more, there is one more Zoom meeting this week, Wednesday at 7 p.m. You should have the link, but if you didn't get it, please let me know and I'll send it to you again. It's just informal. It is totally optional if you would like to come. So. Next, this is also very important and also exciting in its own way. Many of you may know that our own Kathy and Steve Jens Rockow are, I don't know what your current titles are, president? Yes? Okay, Steve is president, Kathy is secretary of the Sunshine Cluster. So this is an organization that brings different UU congregations together in South Florida, or a little bit north. Kathy and Steve can explain it better. But they are meeting next Saturday, and they are going to be talking about the rise of totalitarianism in these days of political polarization. So it will be a Zoom session, Saturday, May 16th, 1 p.m., Together, we will be exploring how we can take bold, courageous action grounded in our shared UU values and centered in love. They do request that you register ahead of time, and so register and receive the Zoom link. You send your name and congregation to the name of the congregation, which would be riverofgrassuu.org, or River of Grass UU congregation, to the email address that you see on the screen, sunshinecluster2023@gmail.com. Did I get that right, Kathy and Steve? Basically, okay. Next, this is exciting. 22 years ago, next Sunday was a historic day for our denomination. Hillary and June Goodridge were the first couple to be married in the United States. We should say first same-sex couple to be married in the United States, and they were married by our UUA president, Reverend William G. Sinkford, at the Unitarian Universalist headquarters. So there you have a picture. So we were leading the way. Another historic day took place 65 years ago. The American Unitarian Association and the Universalist Church of America merged together and became the UUA. That was on May 12th. 1961. So a lot of big things have happened in May. We want you to know that protests are continuing each Sunday from 4 to 5 p.m. to shut down Alligator Alcatraz. This is an interfaith prayer vigil. When we have a group who would like to go, we carpool. We meet here at 2:15 and we depart by 2:30. The vigil itself goes from 4 to 5 p.m. Please let Andy Bunce know if you would like to go at any time, or Susan Scatch-Beharana. They're both here. Or you can also email Andy at andrewbunce@att.net. And finally, we do have I think it's called Beating Hearts Drum Circle. Yes, which will be taking place this coming Friday on 5/15 at 7 p.m. right here in the sanctuary. So you can bring your own drum, or you don't have to. There are always drums to share. And you usually have a good 15 people or 20 people or so? Yes? Okay. And so people really love that. It's a good way to get in sync with each other, percussion-wise. Okay, those are our announcements for today. And now it is time for hospitality. So please stay around and join us for coffee, for snacks, and just to get to know each other better. Thank you all so much for being here this morning. Shine on.